Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. And today we've got an update for you on two of the major maintenance projects that we've got going on this fall. So first of all, you can see this big dome behind me. This morning, our volunteers finished building our replacement drone control radar dome. In order to safely transit under the Walt Whitman Bridge, we had to remove the mast, radar antennas, and several other parts of the top hamper of the ship to get our air draft, or the height above water, down to an acceptable level. We safely transited, we're back. It's been a couple of months, but we still haven't put the stuff up. Why is that? We've got to bring a crane in to put this equipment back up on the ship, which means closing down the museum. We were just closed for 3 or 4 months to dry dock the ship. June, July, August are our busiest time of year. We don't want to close during that time. So we put replacing the stuff off until kids go back to school and our visitation just plummets. So that gave us time to work on not just replacing what we had, but making the ship better. And so we're also going to replace something that hasn't been on the ship since probably mid to late 1990 when she was being decommissioned. In the late 80s, when the Iowa-class battleships got remotely piloted vehicles as their drones, they needed a radar to control those, so like an antenna to send signals to the drones. New Jersey had one of these mounted on the forward face of the aft funnel. And for the last 30 years, 34 years, it's just been a flat platform up there. So when we had the ship in dry dock, we reached out to the Navy. The Navy used SPQ-9 fire control radar drones off of the Spruance-class destroyers and Ticonderoga-class cruisers to cover the radar antenna for the drones. There are several Ticonderoga-class cruisers in the Navy Yard. We reached out to the Navy and said, hey, well, we've got the ship right here. Can we crane something off of your ship and put it on us? They said we could not, which is fair. That's always been their policy, that we can't crane stuff off. We can't send men aloft on the decommissioned ships. That's just their safety thing and liability. We never expected to get an affirmative answer, but we were there. It would have been so convenient. So we started reaching out to companies that made similarly sized domes. This is a roughly 8-foot diameter sphere. One of our volunteers was able to draw basically a CAD drawing of what the original would have been. We don't have the original blueprints for it. But based on measurements and whatnot, he was able to get us a drawing. We were able to shop that around for stuff that looked similar. And we found a company here in the US, in Utah, Infinite Technologies, Radome and Composite Industries, or ITACS. And we reached out to them and said, hey, the ship is missing this part. We're a nonprofit. Like, what will you charge us to ship one of these out from Utah? And they said, it's un-American that that ship doesn't have one. We will give you one for free. We'll ship it to you for free. And so they sent it to, they not only sent us the dome, it was fantastically packed in the box. It had ratchet straps holding it in place. It came with 2 different toolboxes of the tools we needed. So we didn't have to go through the socket set to find out how this attached. It had everything already. The caulk compound that goes on this to make it watertight, like they sent us absolutely everything that we would need to mount it for free. So I don't know how many of you guys watching this need to buy drone radars, but they're not an official sponsor of the museum by any ways, but I highly recommend ITACS as a source for these sorts of fiberglass composite radomes. They are a great patriotic company based right here in the United States that is supporting the Battleship New Jersey. So now that we've got this built, it means that we only have to bring the crane out one time. We don't have to pay for a crane multiple times. We already have to bring a crane out to put the mast back in place, the radar antenna back in place. This will go up at the same time. We shut the ship down once, we pay for the crane once, and we're able to do all of this stuff. Meanwhile, while some of our volunteers were putting this together, another group of volunteers was working on painting the various antennas that came off of the ship. This way, we don't have to climb all the way up there and do it on board the ship. It makes sense to do it while it's down here on the ground. We're also changing the light bulbs in the aviation warning lights while it's down now. None of them have burned out, but it's been something like 5 years since we put them in there. I'd rather not climb up and unscrew the dome, and we'll do it while it's here on the ground. The other major restoration project that's started now is painting the freeboard of the ship. We chose not to do this in dry dock for 2 reasons. One, it's cheaper to do it here pierside. In dry dock, we're paying to have the ship on the blocks. Here, we don't need to do that. We own our pier. And 2, we had to move the ship from dry dock not once but twice. We had to go to Paulsboro, we had to dewater the ship, we had to use tugboats on 2 separate occasions. So we didn't want to put a fresh coat of paint on there and then get it scuffed up with the tugboats or the dewatering process, running hoses off the side of the ship and whatnot. So we chose to wait until we brought the ship back. And again, we didn't want to do this during the busy time of the year when we would normally be open. So now that things have started to slow down, we've got the group here, we've got good weather for another couple of months. We're expecting this to take about 2 months, but this time of year we could get a rain day or 2, so that might push the schedule out. But they're working off of a barge that we're going to move around the side of the ship, and they're going to paint the whole freeboard. What's the freeboard? The freeboard is the part of the ship that's painted gray. It's everything from the top of the black stripe, the boot topping, to the basically bottom of the railing on the hull, the gunnel. So that whole section of the hull is going to get painted. And at this point, we'll have painted the underwater hull, we'll have painted the above water hull, we'll have painted much of the lower part of the superstructure, we'll have redecked the entire main deck. So some of the major projects going forward are going to be completing redecking the superstructure and eventually painting the upper part of the superstructure as needed. And we're able to do all of these projects thanks to your support. What are some major parts of the ship that you feel like are missing that you'd like to see the museum work towards replacing in the future? Keep in mind, it took us about a half a decade to trace down one of these drone control radars of the right size. But let us know in the comment section down below what you think would make the ship look more complete. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of businesses and private individuals. We'd like to thank ITAX for supporting the museum by donating this dome, which is going to help make the ship look considerably more complete. We'd also like to thank you guys for your donations. Your financial support is what is allowing us to paint the side of the ship, to bring a crane in to put this up, to do all of this work. There's a link in the description below if you'd like to donate to support the ongoing restoration projects on the ship. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find about the museum and our channel. Thanks for watching.